Hey everyone, this is episode 35 of Noodle Time. Welcome back. Here with me is the person that has been definitely not playing a lot of FIFA 23 because of the Houston Dash update and as was NWSL, Eric OSG. How's it going, Eric?
What's up, Foxtrot, man? Just chilling. I'm ready for the weekend. I'm seeing all these hype videos from the Dynamo and the Dash keep posting, ready for the weekend. I'm ready for the weekend, but I got a triple header this weekend. We got Dose on Friday in here in Austin for me. Dynamo on Saturday again, another home game against NYC, and then the Dash opener as well on Sunday against Racing Louisville. So busy weekend, bro. I'm excited. I'm hype. I've got one more sleep. Got one more sleep before it's match day, and then it's on. It's gonna be a busy weekend. I'm ready, bro. How about you, bro? What's going on?
Oh man, I'm excited and yeah, we're so excited that we're making a second episode for the week because normally we only make one, and this week we had to make two essentially because of Dash and Dynamo 2 starting up. Originally, the plan was supposed to be us covering both Dash and Dynamo 2 today, but unfortunately, because Dynamo 2 have not submitted the full roster at the time of this recording, there's pretty much not a lot to talk about outside from a couple signings they announced, as well as one addition to the coaching staff. And yeah, so for now we have to just focus on the Dash, and which is still fine because the Dash are probably the most exciting team out of all three coming out of last season, and there's definitely just a lot to talk about. And we're gonna just have to wait and hold off to on the Dynamo 2 talk until next week. But essentially, yes, it's going back to triple header. The fact that we have all three teams playing this week is insane. Not only because Dynamo 2 are playing tomorrow, but because me and Eric were actually going to the Dynamo 2 game tomorrow here in Austin, which is pretty fun. It's gonna be pretty fun, and it's gonna be exciting just to see Dynamo 2 playing Austin FC 2 and right in our backyard. I'm excited, honestly. And not only that, but also Dynamo back at home on Saturday and Dash back on Sunday.
Dude, I'm super hyped about tomorrow, and I know we're gonna be in the Hornets nest tomorrow, and I'm hearing and I'm expecting a lot of Austin. Like tickets are already starting to go up on SeatGeek because the tickets are selling so well over there, and there are going to be a lot of people there. There's going to be I think they're bringing their instruments. They're going to make some noise, but like you said, it's going to be you and me. I won't say their names, but there's a couple other people we know on Twitter that are going. There's there's going to be a nice contingent, say 10 to 15 people wearing orange that we know of. So we'll have our little huddle right there. We'll be easy to spot out, and then of course it's a it's a next pro field, so the team will be able to hear us and they'll know we're there supporting them, and we'll be loud and proud like always. So I'm excited, bro, just to get started with tomorrow, and then work my way down to Houston for the weekend. I'm gonna stick around and do the opening for Dash. I'm not a season ticket holder for Dash, so I'm gonna try to make as many games as I can. But the opener's a must. The opener's a friggin' must. But I'm excited for tomorrow, bro, and looking forward to just hanging out with you. And hopefully we get a big ass dub and make Austin mad even more.
Yeah, we'll see though. And yeah, I was hoping just to talk about Dynamo 2. Not only because of the opener, but because of the roster. It looks um pretty essentially just a lot to talk about when it comes to a roster on development. But since it's not made public yet, we only know a couple of signings by now. Then there's really not much to talk about until that material is pretty much made public. So without further ado, we can just get into the episode. We're definitely just gonna be focusing on a dash for this one because they this earlier this week they pretty much just released their final roster for the 2023 season, and they at this point they have to make a couple of changes when it comes to getting rid of players as well as signing a few players as well, and unfortunately an injury which we'll definitely get into. But did they release the final roster on Tuesday, and essentially it's going to come down to 26 active players with 31 in total. Essentially, players are currently on the season injury list. Essentially, players that do not count towards the roster, but they're technically still Dash players, as well as one on loan, which is Paulina Garmaglia. Like we talked a little bit about her in a previous episode. I said she went on loan to Rebel Bragantino in Brazil, essentially in preparation for the World Cup coming up in a few months. And yes, she just needed playing time, and that's understandable. And yeah, she will be out for the rest of the season just because of that. And yeah, for the 26 active players, the two keepers that we're going to have for the roster currently will be Jane Campbell, obviously, and Devin Kerr, that was recently signed during the off season. Ella Dedrick, she is currently injured, so she's currently listed as SCI on the season and injury list. And as for defenders, we definitely have 10 active defending players, being Achabi, Alicia Chapman, if you're not aware of her, Annika Creel, Manuel Desiano, one of the draft picks, which we're going to get into because all the draft picks were signed to contracts. Caprice Dasco, Jalissa Harris, one of the draft picks, Natalie Jacobs, Lindsay Jennings, Katie Lynn, if you recognize her, Iron Woman for the Dash for almost a couple seasons now, Courtney Peterson, and Alec Priceock. And midfielders, we do have Emily Coran listed as injured, so she won't be active as the season starts, only because she got injured during preseason, which is extremely unfortunate because the injury turned out to be an ACL injury, so she won't be. I don't. We're not expected to be back at all this year, unfortunately. So, speedy recovery for her. It definitely sucks that she has to go through this early in the off season, and like even on preseason because she was active there, and unfortunately she suffered this ACL injury. So she's still on the roster, just under the injury list. Joel Anderson, Shea Groom, Kelsey Hedge, Sophie Hurst, the last draft pick that wasn't mentioned, she got signed. Barbara Olivieri, not much to say. You know her already. Sophie Schmidt, Havana Solon, brought over as well during the offseason. Mercy Vigiano and Makama Gomera Stevens. Also in the injury list, she's still recovering from that. As for the forwards, we do have six coming in as active players: Michelle Losi, Ryan Garris, Diana Ordonez, probably our most high profile signing that we made this offseason. Ebony Salmon, Maria Sanchez, Bombi, Cameron Tucker, and Michelle Prince, which is currently in the injury list. And as I mentioned before, Pau Gramalga, she's on loan, but still on the roster, but doesn't count towards the final roster for ahead of the start of the season. And yeah, essentially, like I said before, Emily Coran, she's gonna be out of the season with the ACL injury. So and once again, speedy recovery for her. Just disappointing that she suffered that injury a little bit before the start of the season. And and yeah, the draft picks that I mentioned, Manon Desiano, Jalissa Harris, and Sophie Hurst. They were the draft picks for the Dash during the NWSL drafts, and they were all signed to contracts, so they'll be available for selection. And the Dash did actually waive two players before the start of the season, those being Michaela Avon, our forward, and Elizabeth Eddy, our Pierce midfielder. And there was at least one contract offer being extended, and that was to the non-roster invitee Savannah Madden, one of the goalkeepers that was brought over during the preseason. And there's no word if she accepted it or not, but the offer has been made essentially so she can be, as to the current state of the team, essentially the third string keeper, because we do have Jane Campbell and Devin Kerr available. But as previously said, Ella Dedrick, our third keeper, she's currently injured, so she won't be available at all for selection. And yeah, that's pretty much how the roster is looking like. I feel like
You got
we did
one.
cover like yeah,
You got one injury that you didn't mention there, and that's Annika Smith, who is now Annika Krill.
yes. Yeah. I did. Yeah, that's also right. I did mention her, but I did not mention her injury, so that's also something good to consider. So thank you for that catch. And
That
yeah,
poor woman. She went. I mean, she was hurt last year with the ACL. She gets married in the off season, and then another ACL. So she gets ACLs back to back. That sucks for her. So luckily she's a newlywed, so she gets to enjoy that, and her husband gets to take care of her. But I know she wishes she was playing, and who knows what that's going to do to her career and her future with the Dash. But we wish her well and a speedy recovery, and hopefully she can come back from that.
No, yeah, for sure. And yeah, those ACL injuries, also just going back to Emily Coran, those are just pretty much, it takes time to recover. Thankfully, with the right care, they get back on track. But it's just it takes a while, and definitely a full season for sure. So we're definitely gonna I miss them whatever time they miss, and I just hope for a speedy recovery down the road for sure. And yeah, and obviously with the roster out of the way, we can at least try and get into the discussion, because I feel like we covered a lot when it comes to our expectations for the Dash, as well as what we expect from this roster in our previous Dash preview, a little bit before after the preseason started. And just going back to that, I feel like there's they definitely address most of the big issues, at least for me, after the postseason last year, just being the fact that they definitely improved when it comes to just being an offensive minded team. They definitely put the goals in the back of the net, but the main issue is pretty much just being consistency and defense, because they did win, or at least make up a lot of results on the road, but unfortunately they got themselves in tough situations, particularly in the playoff game against Kansas City. A lot of defensive mistakes, a lot of personal mistakes that can be easily fixed, and it's just like some of those issues that can just definitely be corrected, like I said. And yeah, like it's I feel like when it comes to the the biggest issue with the team, definitely it falls more on defense, and I feel like they definitely have a lot of depth to work with, just considering the fact that they're bringing like a lot of defenders as for depth, and just to see if something sticks, because I feel, and like I said in the previous episode, like for me it's definitely going to be a matter of consistency and something that they can build upon, because I feel like they definitely figured out midfield and the issue with the midfield fielders and forwards, and even like step up from there, because they brought in like some key pieces that can definitely take it to the next level. But without defense, I feel like they can definitely miss those points and the important results to build upon. And I'm not sure about you, but I feel like and those are like the most important things for me.
Well, yeah. Look, let's go back to last year, a history-making year. We made the playoffs for the first time in history of the Dash. We went through three coaches in the season. We hired a new coach this season. Uh, we kind of played better on the road last year than we did at home in certain cases. We lost the playoff match at home. We had trouble scoring in the final third, even though we were taking a bunch of shots. Uh, you know, defense wasn't so skeptical in my eyes, but during the offseason, that was one of the big notes that uh, the team before even Sam Lady came on, because I think he was after the draft. As a matter of fact, we drafted three defenders in the draft, and they're all highly talented defenders. Who one of them was a national champion. One of them used to play with Ryan Gary's, so that there's chemistry there. There's some college experience there, so that's going to help as far as the depth chart goes. And somebody could, I think we got our back four kind of set up right now as far as left to right. But those rookies coming in are going to be big depth pieces, and we're going to be expecting a lot out of them coming in late in the games. Our midfield, I think our midfield is just going to be it's going to be just highly touted. Again, it's going to be depth, it's going to be inexperience, and then with the release of your girl Bam, you've got your forwards up top. And you can play around with the forwards you want, and Alosi's going to get a little more time coming in off the bench and playing up top. But I think they're focusing on the chemistry and the attack going forward this year, and we got to score more goals. Uh, the Dash are a prominent team. The NWSL recognizes them now, so going into the season, let's see what Sam Lady can do. He's a recognizable coach. He had a very good tenure over in OL Reign. he had great coaches that he's working under tutelage. We respect that man a lot already. The team does. We've heard nothing but good things about him. He's been speaking well for what he's been speaking on so far. So, man, I think these girls, and just looking at them the way they practice and just seeing the videos and sometimes they don't know the camera's looking, but it looks like they're just having fun out there and they're gelling together. I'm ready for this season, bro. And then, like you said, Dash is probably our the team we're most excited about. We're always excited for Dynamo, and then Dose is the second team, obviously. But Dash they can make a run this year, and I think we'll be talking about it during this show tonight.
No, yeah, for sure. And I guess the last thing that I can mention is just the fact that I definitely agree with the fact that a chemistry is going to play a role in the season. A pretty long season that's going to have like a lot of competition and a lot of games for players that even though they have to compete for those spots, there's a likely chance they're going to be playing a lot because of players that are going to be missing either for international call-ups uh, and hopefully it doesn't happen, but essentially injuries just in case. But yeah, those roles and especially whatever the environment around Coach Lady and the team is going through, which it seems positive, something that they can definitely build upon and just translate on the field in terms of success. So I'm looking forward to that. I feel like they definitely can address those big issues from last year and just build upon like the successes from 2022 and yeah, just turn those into just results because they definitely got a result, but I feel like they can just one up themselves compared to last year. So we'll see how it goes for sure.
Yeah, dude, I'm excited. I mean, there's still some tough teams. There's Portland. There's OLO Reign. There's the Kansas City Current are pretty good. The Angel City is still pretty good. So it's going to be a battle and it's going to be tough. We play everybody twice this season. There's none of this BS where they this and that and this and that. They play one by three times. They play somebody once. They're playing everybody twice. 22 games in the season. There's 12 teams in the NWSL. So you're gonna see everybody. You play six in the Challenge Cup, and if you advance, you keep going. So we're going to get our experience. You're going to see everybody. You're going to get to know everybody, and then when the playoffs come, it's going to get real heated, and the dash will definitely be there. That's a guarantee. It's not a hot take, but that's a guarantee.
Yeah, you save the hot take though, but yeah, we'll get
Yeah,
there.
yeah, yeah.
And so before we move on from the roster, I feel we can just go ahead and predict our main starting 11. And we did touch a little bit on that in the last time we talked about Dash a while back. But essentially, I feel like when it comes to the starting 11, it's definitely gonna look a lot more like last year per se, assuming that Sam Lady sticks to a 4-3-3 and definitely the goalkeeper. Just to like not argue a lot because we already did that in the last episode, but essentially from goalkeeper, obviously you have Campbell starting, and from left to right, I can definitely say for sure that it's gonna be Chappie, Katie Lynn, Ellie Pricehawk, and Caprice Dasco starting in the back line, and Sophie Schmidt, Ashay Groom, and Vigiano like on midfield for sure. And like I said, I feel like it's something that it's gonna be dependent on the starters from last year, but obviously the front line is gonna be slightly different only because Abombi, Ebony Salmon, and obviously Dan Ordonez they're gonna be starting for sure. I feel like.
Well, you jumped ahead for the starting 11 instead of going through the roster where we had some debating and some talking to do. But since you went right there, since you just went straight to the
No,
starting
yeah,
11,
no,
I
yeah.
mean,
I only did it only because we kind of addressed most of the points when it comes to the depth chart and and the players themselves in the last episode. So I feel like we can just go ahead and summarize it right away. But I can
okay.
definitely see that conversation for sure. It's good
Okay,
to
well,
have.
we'll come back into a debate because my starting line is different from yours already. There's three different players starting on it
That's fine.
because Chappie and Jacobs they take turns playing, starting for each other's, and I'm gonna see Jacobs starting over Chappie, even though you can't be surprised if Chappie starts over Jacob. But you're right with Price Sock and Lind in the middle, no questions asked right there. Those two iron women right there. Nobody's going to take their place. Didasco on the right, she's got that position held up. We've got those great rookies coming in. Well, we think they're great. They'll be able to stand in whenever we need to give those girls a break. Then you're going to have Smith and Vigiano in the midfield. But here's my difference, bro. Here's where we start the difference. And you
All
know,
right.
well, come back to who the cam, we'll call it the cam, is going to be. You're still going to have Maria Sanchez on the left wing. You're still going to have Salmon as the striker. And here's what I would like to see. Shea Groom, I love you, girl. You know, hook 'em horns, by the way. It's if you're not listening, I did get the thumbs up for you. I know you're an Aggie girl, but you know, we had our debate. I like to go hook 'em. She gives me the thumbs up, and then I just turn it around, and we both give it for H Town. So what I like to see, it's going to be like a 4-2-3-1 or a 4-3-3 as well, just kind of the same formation that the Dynamo are using. But so my right wing and my cam, I would love to see Ryan Gary's up on the right wing. Or even you can switch Maria Sanchez to the right wing and put Gary's on the left. I think either one can play either side. And Maria belongs on the left. She's better on the left, but she played well on the right over there. She scored that freaking banger from the right side where she cut across, playing inverted, and scored that banger of a goal. So let's put Gary's up top on the right. And then I want to bring Ordonez into the cam because Ordonez is like a striker. She is a striker. She is a striker, okay? And I think Salmon needs the ball fed forward, and she's more of a target striker. Ordonez is more of that top of the box striker. She finds what comes in from behind. You know, we get our wings up, and what's dropped back. It's that's Ordonez right there. Salmon is played forward and plays over the top and gets those early crosses in. Ordonez is right behind her. They're both playing up. uh, you don't have a problem with Maria Sanchez coming back and defending, and you definitely don't have a problem with Ryan Gary's coming back and defending. So they'll make up the ground if Ordonez and Salmon both get caught a little high, and we're going to be pushing the attack anyway. So I would love to see Ordonez as the cam and Ryan Gary's as the right side wings, and that to me, I feel like we're going to get a better attack and a more dangerous attack out of, and it fits. I think it fits more for Ordonez to be right there in the middle of the field than restricted out there on the right wing trying to drive into the box.
Honestly, I'm definitely intrigued by the change of formation, and like I said previously, like the starting 11 that I came up with that is definitely dependent on the formation as well, and and I can definitely see the changes being a thing only if Sam Lady is okay with it, obviously. But but yeah, I feel like Ryan Gary is like one of the things that I know for sure. I feel like Ryan Gary is gonna have a massive season. I feel like she's gonna make a big difference when it comes to either deciding the starting 11 or how the starting 11 is gonna be shaped like. And and yeah, I feel like she's gonna have like a lot of competition, and she's gonna have like a lot of fire for that starting spot, especially not only for Diana Ordonez but also Michelle Alosi. I feel like that's gonna be a good spot to compete for, and not because I feel like if we're talking wingers, I feel like you're definitely not gonna beat Wombi, so you're gonna have to um take initiative to beat for that other spot. But if it comes to like midfield though, and and I mean taking out Shagrum is definitely a tough decision, but if it comes down to that, then man, that's gonna be insane.
Well, and
But,
see, let's
but
look
yeah,
at it. What happened last year with Shea Groom? Her most of her prominent minutes were at the beginning of the season, and towards the end of the season, she was coming off the bench, and we were trying something a little different. Now we have a piece who we know, Ordonez, who we know can play that same position and be in that same position. So unfortunate, Shea Groom. Yes, all right. Hey, Ryan Gary's is Miss Versatile. She can play left wing, right wing. She can play left midfield. She can play left back. She can play right back. Play her whatever the hell you want to play her on the field. And listening to her in interviews, she was talking about how she feels like she's only been 1 year in the league. She always feels like a leader for the team. She's comfortable. She already's kind of starting to feel like a veteran role player, in which to me tells you, hey, the coach is talking to her into that manner at the same time and giving her that confidence and looks at her. I mean, she was involved in the goal when y'all watched the inter squad scrimmage. I believe she was a little bit involved in the San Diego, even though we don't know much about those preseason games over there. So And I'm just looking at it from my coach's perspective for the players that I know and the players that I've seen. Even though Ordonez hasn't ever played with us before, but we know what she did last year as a rookie of the year, scoring friggin' 9 goals coming out of her rookie season, and like incredible. So that's something. And and if you do take Ryan Gary's out and you put Ordonez up on the right and Shea Groom starts, you, you, I don't think you're missing much, but you're taking a lot of attack out with putting the Groom in over or putting Groom in at the cam and putting Ordonez out right. Do we want to attack or do we want to defend? Now, it all depends on who we're playing, of course. Starting off with Louisville, Racing Louisville, let's go out, all out. Let's attack. Ryan Gary's at the wing. Ordonez at the cam, and let's push it. It's the same formation as the lineup you predicted, 4-3-3, just with a couple players in a different positions. And we don't know what Lady's thinking. Gary's could start off at left back instead of Chapman and Jacobs could start over there, and then you put Shea Groom at cam and Ordonez at right wing. So very interested. He hasn't talked anything much about who he's seeing. Obviously, he's not going to. So Sunday when the lineups come out, I'm gonna be glued to my phone waiting for and looking at it. And we're gonna have something to debate about while we're sitting in the stadium because we're gonna get there a little bit early. So very very curious as to what we're gonna do, and I'm ready for this season, bro.
No, yeah, me too. And I mean, there's a lot to consider. And like I said previously, it definitely that competition is definitely going to help, especially when it comes to players leaving the team for either international duty or injuries. And also, like, it can definitely make it interesting when it comes to some lady deciding on a specific formation or just sticking to different plans. So there's just definitely a lot to look forward to. And definitely with that we can just get into at least our expectations as to how the season's going to turn out, and we can definitely just piggyback on this question from Tiger
Well,
FC.
well,
Yeah,
real quick, Fox. So let's just go through. Like, there was a couple additions, like Cameron Tucker. She's a forward, and she didn't get much time in Gotham. They let her go, but we picked her up for some reason, even though we kind of felt like we had a Bam. So why did we go pick up Tucker? So there's something that Jessica O'Neill and uh, coach saw in her. So that's something that we could be look at. You still got Alozi. We know Alozi can play. She's going to get some. She's going to get some time. You got your Venezuelan girl Oliveri, who's going to be coming off the bench, and she plays Cam as well, right?
yep,
Oh, so there's options right there off the bench. Kelsey Hedge, Sophie Hurst was a draft pick. Joel Anderson. I think they don't have much experience, so we don't know what they can do and what they can perform on the field. They're going to be given time late into games, and we'll only know what their form is like from practice. But man, Lindsey Jennings, I don't think she's going to make the team. I think she's just kind of like on the practice squad or whatever, just due to her contract or anything like that. But Courtney Peterson, Desano, Jalissa Harris, all rookies with no NLS experience, but they have great college experience. One of them being a champion in Desano. Um, and who was it? Who was it that was coming back to us? I forget her name. That was the hometown girl. Damn it, bringing her back, so she's going to fill at home. But so depth could be a question. Starting lineup shouldn't be too much of a question. Besides a couple of positions to fight about, but again, that's up to Sam Lady. But you're right. So expectations continue, man. Sorry, didn't mean to
I
interrupt.
mean, no, it's all good. You did bring in a good point, and especially when it comes to um Tucker, Cameron Tucker, because we're gonna be like we're gonna be missing those players. And Cameron Tucker, like, even though Michaela Avon was a go and Tucker was brought in during the season, I feel like it's definitely stuff they definitely looked at and saw, like, long term, or at least thought about it. And yeah, it's just interesting to think about. Also considering the fact that our you just think about it, and pretty much our front line, or at least our starting front line, can potentially just be gone in a matter of for a few weeks for international duty or something like that. And and yeah, we just have, like, pieces to definitely deal with those players missing for a particular reason. And yeah, like, at least for me, it's just it's just to think about. I keep saying that, but it's just like the way it is because they have like a lot of these pieces, and we're not so sure if they're gonna stick to like a 4-3-3 or Sam Lady has something else in mind that wants to play out. And and yeah, like at least for me, like it's just good all around. It's just a good vibe in terms of all the pieces that we have and all the options we can take.
Well, he obviously made the choices that he did and making the two drops that he did. But so we'll see. We trust him. We trust the process, like we all like to say on the Dynamo side. So let's see. Let's see. It's opening day here, and since we record this episode in 3 days, so we got 3 days, man. 3 days to to gel on this episode, and let's see what happens.
No, yeah, and I mean, and just to try and piggyback as to what we can see from the team, at least we can set up our expectations for the season, and we can try and piggyback off like a question that we have from Tiger FC on Twitter when we're asking for questions when it comes to like how the season might pan out, because he mentioned something about like winning pretty much all the titles are available, and that's a pretty lofty goal for sure, and something that we can definitely talk about.
Yeah, he asked if we could if you could see the Dashman in the NWSL, the championship, the Challenge Cup, and can we win the Shield? All three.
Man, if that happens, that'll be amazing, and like hopefully this serves as inspiration to get them to do that. But I don't see them winning all three because it's insanely difficult, especially balancing out the players are gonna be missing for all kinds of reasons, consistency and just like results, uh, like on the road, tough results at home, dealing with those. It's definitely gonna be difficult to win all trophies that are available. Given that, like they can definitely contest the league title for sure this year. They're definitely gonna make playoffs, in my opinion, just coming out of last year and the the signings they made this year, and just addressing the at least the things that just went wrong last year. They definitely got a piece to get back in the playoffs and go deep if they want to. But like I said before, it's definitely going to be just a matter of consistency. And and yeah, as for the Challenge Cup, I feel like it's gonna be like a wild card for sure. They can definitely make it far, or not at all, depending on the approach they want to take. Because it's just one of those competitions, and obviously, we're not to mention the fact that the our most important players are definitely going to be missing for the World Cup. They're going to be missing a lot of time there, and whenever they just come back from that tournament, they have to like get back to the roster and just adapt again. So it's just like very cloudy all around when it comes to like predicting how the Dash are gonna be doing, particularly in all the competitions they're gonna be playing in. But yeah, all I can say for sure is, like I said, they can definitely challenge for a league title if they want, as long as everything goes right, obviously. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. Hopefully, this serves as inspiration for them.
I'm gonna go backwards and Shield. I don't think we can. I mean, I'm going to say no. We cannot win the Shield due to because of our depth, like you mentioned, the international play, the World Cup. So I don't think we can win the Shield. But if you go back to looking at last season's standings, whatever was the top five teams, top six teams were just jumbled up together. So not only do we have those same problems, other teams have those same problems. San Diego, Alex Morgan's going to be missing at times during the season. Chicago, Mallory's going to be missing for Chicago. So other teams are going to have the same problem. There's only 12 teams, so depth is going to be an issue for a lot of teams in the league. I know LO Reign's pretty strong and NC's always strong, but KC Current's always strong. But that'll be so that was it's up for grabs. But like I said, on our depth, I don't think so. As far as the Challenge Cup. Now, different from last season, the Challenge Cup's not being played at the beginning of the season. It's being played kind of like the Open Cup, so it'll be throughout the season. We got 3 games mixed off early, but then we got 3, bro, that are coming in here the end of July, beginning of August. So those players that are at the World Cup. I don't remember the World Cup date off to my hand. Do you know it right off the hand?
I believe it's June.
So June. Okay, so those players come back. Maybe they get back into form, and we have three Challenge Cup games back to back at the end of July and the beginning of August to to finish off our group play because it's group play.
To
So
correct you, sorry for interrupting, but it is actually a July, so it goes from the middle of July, July 20th to August 20th. So it's gonna
oh
pretty much just
wow.
run through a month.
Okay, so our last three Challenge Cup games are going to be a group play Challenge Cup games. They're going to be while the girls are off playing the World Cup. So, and again, remember that's other teams going to be in the same situation. So maybe that's why they did Challenge Cup like that instead of putting season games there. So that the Challenge Cup will be, can we win enough? Our, I trust our depth pieces, but again, they have no experience. So we'll see. As far as the NWSL Championship, I felt like we had a chance last season. We just had to get past Kansas City. We failed. I felt good about going to LA Reign. We gave them their only loss last year, but we didn't get that opportunity to go back there and do that. And then we would have been in the championship. So I feel better about the NWSL championship than I do about the Challenge Cup and than I do about the Shield. So would I put money on the dash? I mean, yeah. Am I confident about it? Not super confident, but I like our chances, and we have to believe. And they're going to get that playoff game where we're going to set another record. We're going to continue with history again, bro. We're gonna do it. But again, depth is going to be a big issue. Players missing on the international.
Yeah,
So Tiger, thank you for the question.
yeah, for sure, and just good to think about, and and just to see like how much the depth can go, especially with all these competitions, and yeah, like particularly like the Challenge Cup, like it's sprinkled in, like you said, kind of like the Open Cup for the men's, and and yeah, just a lot of competition overall, and just trying to figure out what fits best in any given situation. And I mean, and just speaking of the like those games, or at least as a schedule, we can at least give our takes on like the first 7 games of the season and see how they pan out, because there's definitely lots to talk about, considering that, and like we said earlier, we're not just dealing with like the regular season, but also the Challenge Cup, and they're pretty much just happening right now. Essentially, like the next 7 games, we're gonna be in 2 competitions.
Yeah. So I mean, look, bro, the first 7 games, I think I missed marking the second Louisville game in the Challenge Cup because I'm not seeing where I marked it, but it has to be. I think I know which one it is. It has to be. So it has to be
So
on 6/14.
yes, so essentially the one for Racing Louisville for June 14th. It's on the road, but yeah.
Okay, all right. I didn't mark that, so let me mark it now. But yeah, so in our first 7 games to start the season, were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We actually played two of those Challenge Cup games in the first 7 games of the season. So we got 5 regular season games, 2 Challenge Cup games, 1, 2, 3 away games, and 4 home games in those first 7 matches. And I'll go ahead and run through them real quick. If you want to give a quick opinion on them, we obviously opening day at not at Louisville. We're home against Racing Louisville.
I'll definitely say win.
Yeah, that's a win, bro. I mean, so just real quick, I did some history just because it's our first game. We beat them twice in the Challenge Cup last year, 2-1 and 3-2, but we tied them both during the season 1-1 and 0-0. So, and the 0-0 was at home. So that's kind of crazy how that worked out. So Louisville's going to bring it. They're going to play us, but there's a lot of parity in WSL. Then we go to at Chicago. At Chicago's always been rough for us too, but at Chicago, and that's Mallory right there.
Yeah, I'll definitely say draw. We did beat them last year, but I feel like they're gonna be drawing this time around. But we'll see.
Then the next weekend we moved to Portland at Portland.
I'm gonna say we beat them. We beat Portland.
that's going to be a tough one. But I was thinking the same thing. Just because some of the turmoil they've been going through during this offseason, they're not going to feel
Yeah.
themselves. They've had a lot of trouble in the front office. So, but then we open up the Challenge Cup with Kansas City coming here.
Oh man.
Yeah, that our friggin' our what is that? That's just our Achilles heel right there. Kansas City is what I feel like is us. We hate
Yeah,
playing them. That is our rival for this league. That's for damn sure. No questions asked right there.
for sure. I would say draw. We draw Kansas City. Like they look like a pretty talented roster, and it's just a matter of seeing them in action. But I feel like it's gonna be a draw for sure.
Yeah, for real. And then we travel to Washington and we play the Spirit up there.
We did. We kind of did return the favor from them because them so like in the 2021 season, we had to beat them to get to the playoffs, and we lost there.
Yeah.
And we and I'm still sad about it. So I will definitely say we beat Washington Spirit on the road.
We got to go beat them, and the Spirit may be back up for this year. They were what national champion, not national champions, NWSL champions in 21. They failed in 2022 and almost finished at the very bottom or at the bottom. They could be a turnaround because it's still the same players pretty much. But then after that, we come home against North Carolina. Courage.
That might be one of those games where like something weird happens and we lose. So I'll say this is gonna be our first loss of the season by pure accident.
Who's gonna get a hat trick in that game because she's playing her old team?
Diana Ordonez for sure, but we lose 4-3.
Oh man, bro, come on. That's messed up, bro. That's messed up. All right,
I'm saying
Sanchez.
it. I'm speaking into existence so it doesn't happen. So they'll
Okay.
thank me later.
I love how that thinking works for a lot of friggin' fans. And like, if I say this, then obviously it won't happen. Like, we're the only friggin' fan in the history of the team. All right, then to finish out that final seven, shoot, on my birthday, crap, May 3rd, we
Happy
host.
birthday.
Thank you. And, I believe that was during the week too. It's I think it's a Wednesdays, but we host Chicago in the Challenge Cup. That's our second Challenge Cup game. So I'm definitely going to make sure I'm at that game. It's my birthday. What else am I going to do on my birthday but go to Houston and root on the dash and celebrate a friggin' dub?
No,
And
yeah, I'll
you
say
say something different, I'm coming through the screen.
I'll say the Dash win for you. Or
All
their
right.
yeah, their first win of the Challenge Cup. Unless they beat
All
Kansas City, which I see like I see it's gonna be pretty tough for sure, but they win for you. I'll say against Chicago.
Well, yeah, good. Thank you. I'll take a happy birthday gift. And both our Challenge Cup games are at home against Kansas City and Chicago in that first little 7 game stretch, and then we don't play our next Challenge Cup game till June. So 6 Challenge Cup games and 22 NWSL season games for the season. But we'll stop there with those 7. Once we get to this point, we'll review the next 7 and we'll continue on to the season, and we'll see where we're at because that'll definitely be a nice little recap. But I kind of wrote it down just to see so we can come back and hash it out, and I can throw your 4-3 in your face.
Okay, it's now time for the hot take for the season, and yeah, it better be a good one because the one I did for the Dynamo, if you haven't heard before, I have Corey Baird scoring more goals than save us, and it's off to a bit rough start, but there's still plenty of season for the Dynamo. As for the Dash,
Well, they're both
I,
tied 0-0 right now, right?
yes, but I mean
Three
it's a
games
long
in,
season.
0-0.
It's a long season, so we'll like Bear might end up with 1 goal, but we'll see. And yeah, when it comes to the Dash, it's like I feel like it for this time around. I feel like Diana Ordonez is gonna have more goals than Bombi, and that's saying a lot because I feel like Bombi is gonna do like a lot of damage, not only creating assists but also goals. But I feel like Diana's gonna find the back of the net more often than not. So I feel like that's my main one.
With this team, it's not it's kind of hard to give an actual. hot take because there's just a lot going on for this team, and Diego Ordonez scored 9 goals. I think Salmon scored 9 goals last season, or Ordonez scored one more. So we're expecting a lot of goals out of them. You know what you can get out of Maria Sanchez. So man, I mean, I don't know how you fans listening to this show think about the lineup and the starting lineup, and I'm I'm really believing in Ryan Gary's is going to be a everyday starter, or Dennis is going to be that Cam, and Ryan Gary's isn't going to no national team. So she's not missing the games whenever the rest of the team goes away. So she's going to get that extra playing time. So I am going to say Ryan Gary's will score the most goals this season. I'm not
That's a
kidding.
good one.
One, she's going to be starting a lot. I don't think she's going to miss. She's going to play in every game, one way or the other, and she's going to. I mean, I don't want to say 10 goals, but first player to 10 goals wins the scoring for the dash, and it could be
Okay.
Ordonez, it could be Salmon, it could be Gary's. Shoot, it could be Sanchez with 5 goals and 10 assists.
If they don't beat Salmon for sure, yeah.
Yeah, well, I even saw that there was some NWSL predictions. Is the dark horse was Salmon to score the most goals for the season, and they picked somebody else. I forget who it was now, but Salmon was the dark horse to be the goal scorer. So, dude, it's like I said, it's hard to make a hot take on this, but I guess I'm to make it even hot. No pun intended. Ryan Garys will score the most goals.
No, and that's just a good way to like kind of end our hot takes because we can just follow up with our last Twitter question for today. Essentially, just being Mark asking who is going to end up as, or at least how Mark types it, who ends top goal scorer for of the season, and at least for me, like it's gonna be an easy one, just Ebony Salmon. I mean, Ryan Garris can definitely compete for in the goal tally, but I feel like Ebony Salmon is it's gonna be our high score for the team, like and hopefully the league. That's what I'm looking for.
Yeah, man, and that's kind of I wouldn't say an easy one to agree with. That's a simple one to agree with. If Ordonez gets to play the cam in the picture that I'm seeing, the way the team's going to play, uh, I mean, they're going to be battling back and forth because Salmon had a run where she scored goals, and then she had a run where she didn't, and then she scored a couple goals. Shoot, this is going to be hot, but yeah, the the money better one is Salmon will score the most goals for the Dash this season, and I think that's a league wide bet too.
Yeah, no,
So
that's safest bet for sure.
So great, Centeo. Thank you for the question, and also shout out to Centeo. He's been doing all the edits that you can see that Noodle Tempio posted from Twitter and from Old Soccer Guy on Instagram. Sometimes I put him over there too. He does all my edits, all our Hustle Time Roundup edits, all our some of our match day edits, and you know. So shout out to him for doing some of those edits. Appreciate you for doing that on your own personal time. Foxtrot as well. Appreciate you doing your edits for the Noodle Time edits, and our Fox always eating the noodles. So again, shout out
Yep.
to both you guys for helping us with the cool edits because I like being different than the Dynamo and everybody retweeting the same tweet and just putting maybe a change in a word or two and just using the same photo. We try to give different photos here and there and just make it look a little different, give a little more. Hey, I didn't see that one yet. Oh, okay, cool. I like that. But yeah, shout out to y'all both.
No, yeah, for sure. Shout out to Santiago for sure for making our graphics and especially something different, like you said. I don't know. Yeah, that should be it for the episode. Like, unless you want to give some final thoughts, because, like I said, like at least for me, like to dash, like it's gonna be a matter of consistency. But at the end of the day, just grind for those results. And just coming out of last year, a season that has some shortcomings due to some last minute incidents or just the fact that some of the results that could have gone our way just fell out of our hands. Those things can be easily fixed. I feel like in this season, and like as long as you stick together, or obviously like the theme of the circle that won't break that has been lasting for this team for a long time. Even regardless, like the change of the players and stuff, they can still make it happen, and I feel like they can make a deeper run into the playoffs compared to last year.
Yeah, dude, man, I agree. My final take with the Dash is I'm just as excited as you are for this season. I expect us anything less than playoffs, anything less than a run of the Challenge Cup is going to be, oh my god, it's going to just bring us back to other memories of the other side of the realm with the boys being in the void for the past 9 years. But I don't expect that from the girls. We have a great roster. We have a great coach now. We have the front office that Jessica O'Neill and Alex Singer doing what they do best, and just from every aspect of it, it's looking great over there. And we do expect a lot, and we'll hold them to it, but we'll be there supporting them at the same time. Speaking of y'all, go support the Dash. Get your tickets. Go to the game. It's opening day. I think our record for opening day is over 8,000 to open a season. So they're hoping to get 10 to 15 for this game. So guys, get your tickets. And just FYI, the Surge who go to the Dynamo will also be at the Dash in the supporter section, the typical supporter section. You know where to find us. And also Bio City Republic is now moving over into our supporter section as well. So it's going to be a joint supporter section, and we'll be over there in the standing room only section, which I think they unlocked the seats, but I'm not going to be sitting, bro. I'm going to be standing and cheering and
Yeah,
watching our opponent miss the goal. But, you know, other closing thoughts, bro. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow, watching Dose kick some Austin butt. That's going to be fun, especially for Next Pro, and we're getting to see it here in our, like you said, our backyard, and then making the run to Houston to watch NYC come into Houston and take that big fat L, and we stay undefeated because we're going to defend the 7-1-3 like Teenage Davey said. It was exciting, bro, about when he was talking in that video. And then, of course, Sunday, stick around for a late 6 o'clock game, watch the Dash do their thing, and then I'll drive back home, and we'll start the week over and we'll do it again. And then we'll see you on Tuesday night for next week's episode where we review all three matchups. And then we got some other things in plans, but we'll let you know as those come out.
for sure, guys. And yeah, well said. Thank you guys for tuning into this episode. Support the Houston Dash. They deserve it the most. And yeah, guys. See you this weekend, and stay noodle.
Forever Orange and H is up.